Alright, so for this video, I wanted to talk about NPCs and fake popularity, right? And so basically, what I want to talk about is basically how, um, obviously, like most people in this reality aren't real people; they're like Sims, basically. If you especially if you look at like the internet, right? If you look at the internet and like the dead internet theory, like most of the people that you interact with online are actually just AI, like chatbots or whatever. But also like this extends into like the physical realm where like most of the people that you interact with on a physical level are not actually real people. They don't have souls, right? They're holographic sort of backdrop people in the simulation. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that I do believe that this simulation can artificially manufacture popularity, basically. And what this makes the first thing this makes me think of is how musicians can basically sell their souls to like the devil, or they can sign like a soul contract or whatever. And you look at like all the people who go to like Taylor Swift concerts or something, right? Like obviously like it seems to me that they can sort of do like a click enter, and like they can make the Sims go to whatever shitty concert that you're hosting, and they can artificially sort of boost your numbers by making NPCs behave in a certain way, right? So that's why I say NPCs and like fake popularity or like manufacturing popularity is that I do believe that like being popular or being famous or being commercially successful, right, can definitely be controlled by the system, and that they can control how people online react to your stuff, how people like whether or not people buy your stuff, whether or not people interact with your videos, right? Whether Because most of those people are non-player characters, right? And so I just wanted to sort of mention that, because I do think that a lot of like the people that are propped up as controlled opposition, basically, right, like the Joe Rogans, the Trumps, the Musks, right? Things of that nature. A lot of those people, like their popularity and like their fan base, and like the people who buy their products and their snake oil and stuff like that. I do believe that a lot of those or if you think about like yet again like the Taylor Swift stuff, you think about like the musicians selling their souls to get fame or whatever, right? It's like that type of stuff where I do believe that this simulation and like the archons that run this simulation can artificially manufacture popularity by like it's a game, because yet again most people are basically Sims. Like it's basically a game of the Sims where they can basically just make the Sims, the NPCs, behave in a certain way to either prefer you or to like to speak against you, or to ignore you, right? And so that they can artificially, decide who gets famous, who gets popular, who gets commercially successful, if it's based on the activity of like the general population, right? So I just sort of wanted to that's sort of like an interesting thing that I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, like another thing too is like the influencing public opinion. Like this is like another thing that they can do, is like can influence public opinion, because and this is the thing, is that a lot of people are more manipulated by peer pressure than you would think, right? And this is something that has happened to me, but I think it happens to a lot of people where it's like they'll have an opinion on something, like they'll follow their gut feeling about something, but then it's like their gut feeling says this, but then like they'll read like online, and like that someone else agrees with their gut feeling opinion, right? But then you have like backlash in the comments, or like the people will get ratioed in like the comments or whatever. So what happens is that you might be doing this thing where you might be like, oh, but okay, like I guess I'll like tame down, or I'll get like a sort of watered down version of my original gut feeling, right? And so this is a thing where it's like in the same way that like you look at how they can influence like elections or whatever. Like here's the thing, like elections are rigged anyway, but uh, they can definitely use NPCs, and yet again, who gets not only who gets famous, who gets preferential treatment and popularity, but also what opinions people have, right? Like yet again, you might be scrolling on social media, or you might talk to people in real life, and their opinions, um, because of the fact that they're Sims, that they're NPCs, right? Like their opinions might be, opinions that are programmed into them, by the system, and that system, but might say like, oh, okay, well, we want people to have this opinion, so we're going to make this opinion unpopular and this opinion popular, right? And so you get motivated by peer pressure. You get essentially gaslit into believing something that isn't true, even though yet again, even though your gut feeling might say otherwise, you might get gaslit into believing like the opposite of your gut feeling because well, okay, everyone agrees with like the opposite, right? Everyone agrees with everyone online and in real life agrees with the opposite, even though that's like the system saying, oh, okay, well, like make the majority of society, right? Yet again, NPCs, no souls, they're Sims, right? Like, but let's make the majority of society agree with this opinion that supports the control system, right? So that's another thing about like these NPCs that can happen, right? That can that basically like the system can influence public opinion by just by programming the Sims to act in a certain way. And another thing too is that like these NPCs also serve sort of like another function, right? Which is that they essentially serve the function of generating loosh on a consistent basis. Basically, if you think about it this way, right? If you're like commuting to work or something every single day, like if you like what this AI, one of the things that like this AI, right? Like this sort of Saturn, like our like this the AI that runs this matrix, right? One of the things that it's very very good at is it's very good at pushing people's buttons and finding what makes people mad and what makes people generate loosh, right? Because that's its job to generate that negative energy, right? So one of the things that it might do is it might do this thing where like it might make an NPC try to piss you off. And somewhere like it might make an NPC cut you off in traffic or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, cutting this guy off in traffic makes this person really angry. So we're gonna keep doing that, right? Yet again, programming the Sims to keep cutting you off in traffic or to make you have road rage, and then boom, you're generating loosh on a repeatable basis, on a predictable basis, right? And this is something that I see in like my own life, which is that I do see like that the exact same kinds of people and the same kinds of situations show up in order to like it's almost like it's deliberately there to like piss me off. And I see this with like school where it's like getting yelled at by the same kinds of teachers for doing nothing, getting bullied by the same kinds of by the same it's like literally it's like the same people but just in different bodies in a different place, but it's the same situation that is basically manufactured to generate loosh, to generate loosh out of you. So that's another function of like these sort of Sims, like the NPCs in this matrix, is to get you to sort of generate loosh. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of talk about that in this video today. Is like basically like this, like most of the people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis are not real people. Like they're NPCs, they're Sims, they're part of the like the agents. So they'll change into Agent Smith, like just like in the Matrix film. Or like they'll change into Agent Smith. Like the program will sort of override them as soon as you say something, that's like out of line or whatever, right? And they can influence, how popular or unpopular someone is. They can influence how famous like how famous musicians are. Yet again, like the musicians doing like all this occult stuff and like selling their soul, and then they get magically famous, right? Because they're programming the Sims to do that. They're programming the Sims to basically just have a public opinion so that they peer pressure everyone else into having that opinion, right? Yet again, you might have a gut feeling, but then everyone else, quote unquote, even though they're not real people, they might have like that. They might give you backlash for following your gut, but then you're like, oh, okay, and so you might get watered down. You might ignore your own intuition about how the world works in that way. And so they can influence public opinion, how popular certain people are for controlled opposition, but they also, I think, primarily the function of these NPCs is to get you to generate loosh by deliberately putting them in situations that like piss you off. And okay, well, one last thing, but before I end the video, is that I do think that NPCs also serve the function of like monitoring spirits. Basically, that these NPCs are like, because I've encountered this like at work, sometimes where like basically like there will be people that like they will ask you like to like divulge every detail of your personal life, and if you don't divulge, it's like they're spies or something. And if you don't divulge every single detail about your personal life, it's like they get mad and they look at you like this, and it's crazy. And so I think that that's another function of like these NPCs, like these sort of Sims characters in the simulation, is to essentially to keep tabs on you, right? And I think that like, there is sort of and going off of that, I think there is sort of wisdom in being introverted, right? Not interacting with society all that much, not telling people about your plans for things, right? Because yet again, like a lot of these NPCs, a lot of these Sims are there to keep tabs on you. They're there to sort of keep tabs and to sort of monitor you, right, through like these fake people, right, so that they can essentially try to block your path every step of the way. And this is something that happens where it's like you tell someone your plans to do something, right, and then like all of a sudden you experience all these blockages when you get back to work on doing whatever it is that you want to do, like following your purpose or whatever. So I do think that there is sort of like a wisdom and not talking to people, not divulging too much of what you have planned and everything else, right? But yeah, that's the video.